Greetings, dear viewer. So this is the first part of a new series that will pick through the manure pile of ball earthers.
Vince, apparently they prefer the word globe-tod.
Eh? Oh, how very quaint.
Globetrotters believe they live on a cartoon spinning ball in an infinite space vacuum. The only proof these mental defectives have are cartoon composites and computer-generated images provided by the government, which they saw on television. Globetrotters were indoctrinated to reject any notion of a god or higher power, and instead they choose to wave their hands while proclaiming that the Earth they live on was created by a magical explosion because of reasons. Globetrotters believe the Earth was formed right in the perfect area next to the Sun, known as the Goldilocks Zone. This area of their magical infinite space vacuum is where everything is just perfect for life to not only survive, but to thrive as well. And of course, Globetrotters choose to believe that this is all due completely to random cosmic luck. They also believe that this same cosmic luck is what helped their 8-brain ancestors to evolve from primates into the bright, shiny Globetrotters that they are today. Basically, their argument boils down to, but, my science book! They can't even agree on whether or not their cartoon world is a sphere or an oblate spheroid. Just after the nearest Globetrot tells you it is actually a pear-shaped world, they will then cite Neil deGrasse Tyson saying so as their proof. Another thing Globetrotters can't seem to get straight is the height at which the supposed curvature becomes visible on their spinning cartoon paroid. Some Globetrotters will tell you they can see the curvature of the Earth from on top of a mountain.
Here's a photo from a very high mountain overviewing the valley below. And what you see here is the curvature of the Earth. I myself have been on a very high mountain like this, and I've seen the curvature of the Earth, and I told myself, wow, I can see the curvature of the Earth from here.
While other Globetrotters claim they can see the curvature from out an airplane window.
Genius, what about the images I see with my own naked eyes when I'm on a plane? Sometimes when I'm on a plane, I can see the Earth's curvature from the plane.
But the smartest of all Globetrotters will contradict his fellow ball worshippers and proclaim one must be much higher than that in order to see the supposed curvature of the magical tilting pear rock. This alone gives us a valuable insight on the fast pace of Globetrot research, because all they had to do at some point was open their minds and use the senses they were created with to find out. Despite this, these vacant-minded globe guzzlers think they can make pronouncements about reality, even though they have never actually lived in it. So now that we have set the scene of who we're dealing with, let's get crocking.
Flatards think there is a global conspiracy to hide the shape of the Earth, a conspiracy that dates back to antiquity, yet is all due to NASA and the United Nations, organizations formed in 1958 and 1945 respectively. What these mental defectives have yet to do is explain why the shape of the Earth is so significant that such a concerted effort to hide its shape would be necessary.
So this is the cool hard logic I've heard so much about. And what does he do to open up his video? He opens up with a cartoon picture of the globe. Wow, way to go, buddy. Good one. Which one is that? Oh, I recognize that. Ball crap. That's NASA's Blue Marble 2.0. That's one of the pieces I like to use to open up my friends' minds as to how fake their world is. So here's NASA's Blue Marble 2.0. And if you Google Earth from space, and you go to the image results, you'll notice that all of the pictures of the globe look like cartoons and CGI. That's because they are. Now, as you can see, if you Google Earth from space, one of the first images that pops up is NASA's Blue Marble 2.0. which is featured in Cool Hard Logic's opening scene. Now what you want to do is click on that image, bring it up, and then you want to zoom in on the bottom left-hand patch of clouds right here. Now if you are to zoom in on these clouds, you'll notice something kind of strange. It looks as if these clouds copy and pasted themselves. Now, I don't know if in nature clouds have learned to copy and paste themselves, but apparently these ones have. So yeah, your world is photoshopped. Not only is it photoshopped, it's admittedly photoshopped because, it has to be.
It is Photoshop, but it's has to be. It is Photoshop, but it's has to be. It is Photoshop, but it's has to be.
What these mental defectives have yet to do is explain why the shape of the Earth is so significant that such a concerted effort to hide its shape would be necessary.
Why would they lie to us? Simply put, they lie to us to make us believe in what is not, so we never actually know what is. There might be more land out there that they're hiding from us. Why would they want to hide more land? Well, imagine if resources such as gold, silver, oil, imagine if these resources aren't scarce. Imagine if they're plentiful. Imagine that there's other lands out there, untouched, unclaimed, that if you could get to it, you could stake out a claim, take as much as you want. Now that's happened before, and it could possibly happen again. Maybe that's something worth lying about. Other land, other worlds, more resources. What if there's people on these lands? What if there's people on these lands who don't know that we exist? It kind of makes you think about the long-lost city of Atlantis. Maybe it's just, I don't know, 100,000 miles to your right. Now let's go the opposite way. There could be a dome or a firmament over your head. That's something worth lying about. Why would they lie about that? Oh, I don't know, because it completely disproves the Big Bang. And 100% proves that we are divinely created intelligently by a higher power of some kind. Now, if we live in an enclosed system, that means man can't leave and go to any other worlds. That means we are special. It is just us. We aren't a speck of nothingness in an infinite space vacuum. We are very special if this is the case, if this is the only world covered by a dome. Now, why would they lie? Oh, I don't know. How about $18 billion annually? If NASA gets to steal $18 billion from their taxpayers, well, even if you don't believe anything else I've told you, the bottom line could be they stole your money for a fake trip to the moon. They stole your money for a fake rover on Mars. They stole your money to show you CGI and cartoon pictures of the globe. $18.4 billion annually? That might be another reason to lie. So you said flat earthers are yet to explain why hiding the shape of the earth would matter and why it's important? Well, now you can't say that anymore because I just did. And I've actually already done this before several times in several of my other videos. But of course, you were too busy beating off while watching Cartoon Network to actually do any real research on this subject before you started opening up your fat yap. Next argument.
This and this are examples of an azimuthal equidistant projection, one of many ways of projecting a three-dimensional spheroidal surface onto a two-dimensional one. If you've ever tried flattening out an orange peel into a nice map of its former self, you'll have noticed the problem. Presenting a rounded 3D surface in 2D means that something has to give.
There would be no reason for me to do that in the first place, because it is completely nonsensical and it's a total waste of time.
In the case of an azimuthal equidistant projection, what stays intact? Lines of longitude radiate from the center of this polar projection, so directions from the center point will be represented correctly. In fact, the center point is the only point on this projection where one can determine the direction and distance to any other point correctly. For other points, only distances along lines of longitude will be consistent with reality. Distances and directions between any other two points will be incorrect. Consequently, shapes and areas are also incorrect and become increasingly distorted the further from the center of the map they are. We'll come back to that. The azimuthal equidistant projection does have some practical applications, but for general navigation, the problems highlighted mean it's an absolute clusterfuck.
The globe is fictional. It doesn't exist. So if we were to draw some lines of latitude and longitude around this fictional premise, therefore the lines would also be fictional. Yeah, you can start with ball crap. You can draw lines around the ball crap, and guess what? Your lines are also ball crap. So if I was to cut this globe open and try to spread it out into a map of its former spheroidal self, yeah, I would run into a problem. The map wouldn't be right, because this wasn't right to begin with. This is fake. So if I tried to make it into a map, the map, of course, is going to be incorrect, not completely accurate. Now, if I was to choose between navigation using only a globe or only the AE map, I would choose the AE map every single time if I had to choose between the two. But the AE map is definitely not 100% correct. Now, this might be a shocker to some flat earthers, but believe it or not, none of the maps that we get to see are correct. None of the maps that we've been looking at our whole lives are 100% authentic.